Don King from Last Word on College Football and Nick Dempsey join him at Conquest Chronicles, SB Nation platform for USC, and also Saturdays with Nick. All right, Don, looking at the first weekend of college football, a lot of crazy happenings, as is usual. We go through it each and every year. What caught your eye?
A couple of things. Despite the lack of success, love Paul Johnson going for two to try to end that overtime game for Georgia Tech. Love it. You know, they hadn't stopped his QB all night. His defense was clearly wearing down. I love him trying to go ahead and win the game outright, even though it didn't work out. Gutsy call, Coach Johnson, right call. Good job. And gutsy comeback and great effort by Tennessee, too. So good for them. Secondly, a lot of struggles around the nation with teams that you thought were going to be really good and just go out and put people away, and they didn't. You know, a couple of them wound up upside down, like Texas at home against Maryland. And, you know, some folks just didn't look like we thought they were gonna, which is always kind of fascinating. It happens every year, week one. You always see some weird things like that. And third, I'm really glad I'm me and not Kevin Sumlin this week. This is probably the first time I've ever been able to say that. But right now, I'm glad I'm me and not him.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I thought there was a couple of surprising teams. I think Texas and Maryland was crazy. UCLA, I don't know if you guys know this, but they kind of had a pulse for a little bit there in that game, and that was neat to see. It's better than watching them, you know, drudge their way through another 3-9 boringness with no running game. Plus, you know, I hate to say this is sacrilege from my neck of the Pac-12 woods, but that fake spike was pretty cool.
Even though the clock was dead.
Yeah, I mean, they got away with one, but come on. You know.
They went for the okie doke. They were watching the quarterback. He made it work. Good for him.
I was also, this is again probably not the sexiest pick in the world, but that particularly in the first half, that Indiana quarterback. I don't know if you guys watched that. Well, Mark, you probably did, but that Indiana quarterback was throwing some sharp footballs. Like, I know everyone said, "Oh, OSU's defensive backs are going to struggle," and in fairness, like 3 of the first 21 guys in the NFL draft all came from that backfield. So yeah, they were going to be worse. But a lot of those passes, like they did exactly what they needed to do, and they were just too perfect to miss. So that kid, I don't know why they started bringing in a running quarterback, but that Indiana quarterback was throwing some sharp footballs for sure.
Yeah. Love that he wears a number in the 20s too.
Yeah.
Real cool. A la John Hadel back in the day. That's awesome.
That is John Hadel.
Awesome.
I felt terrible for the Florida State quarterback.
Yeah.
Man, like that's rough. I honestly that game went about as I expected it. Obviously not the injuries, but Florida once again appears to not have an offense like at all. So that's less than interesting, but not unpredictable. You score
all your points on pick sixes. That's not good.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who else really jumped out at me. I think those were the big ones. I honestly, all the big games coming up this weekend, I'm kind of low key most excited about Boise State versus Washington State because
the line on that one is nuts. He was favored by like 10 or 11, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
You know what? I wish you could just put a bet down on like what's going to be the nuttiest game of this week, because I would probably take like $1,000 right now and just be like, give me Mike Leach. Mike Leach and Boise State, let's do it. But
the Pirates,
let's UCLA looking sharp. A lot of teams look flat early. Washington did not look great first half against Rutgers. Wisconsin did not look great first half against Utah State. Utah didn't look particularly sharp out of the gate. They all picked it up and eventually went on to pretty big wins, but a lot of teams just not necessarily a hot start, but they got it together. So I'm interested to see what happens with some of those teams going forward. But and I too loved that Paul Johnson You know, your bread and butter is you run the option.
Yep.
That's that you're going to live and die with that. So you might as well go with your best shot right now. Would have been nice if someone did a little more blocking on that play, but yeah, all around, this was a fantastic opening weekend of college football, and I love that I can watch countless hours of the sport, and it still just continues to find ways to surprise and impress me.